everyone is starting to panic over Gen Z. So, you know, it's not just me. I'm seeing more and more comments, more and more videos pop up where people are just going furious over Gen Z. But now Gen Z is entering into a new stage of their lives, the neat stage. I've talked a little about this in a previous video, but we're going to jump into this further as society is beginning to panic how at Gen Z's withdrawal. Gen Z is, I've said this before, I'll say it again, they are the modern day version of the hippie. Okay? Lazy, unkept, untrustworthy, greedy, disrespectful, delusional, always drunk or high. That's Gen Z. And now many Gen Zers, if not most Gen Zers, are embracing the NEAT lifestyle. NEAT stands for not in employment, education, or training. It is a problem that exists in Japan and has been popularized very much in Japan, especially with a group known as the Hikikomori, which are shut-ins who essentially lock themselves inside of their homes and never go outside, or very or don't go out very often, and try to avoid as much social contact as possible. This is what Gen Z is heading towards right now. They don't really like speaking to others or talking to one another. All right, Gen Zers don't like Gen Z. Even Gen Z doesn't like Gen Z. Gen Z understands Gen Z, and they can't stand each other, to quote Al Bundy, or paraphrase. We're going to jump into this video from the Uncensored because it actually jumps into this further, delves further into this, where society is beginning to panic. And I've said this already that we need to plan ahead because, most Gen Zers won't see 30. The way that they're living, the way that they look, they're aging like milk, while millennials and Gen X as a whole are aging like fine wine. Gen Z is aging like milk, and their personalities, their behavior, their views on society, reality are completely delusional. These people are out of their minds. They are toxic. 40% of employers will not hire these people. We are not being too hard on them. These are the kinds of bubs that you would never let into your homes. Like how, your wife has that brother, that good for nothing brother, who comes around. He's always drunk, never really works. He's a scumbag. The kids kind of like him because he seems cool, but they don't understand that he's like the person you should never become. He's the guy that you don't want your daughter to date, let alone even have as a friend, because a friend, right? You don't want your sons looking up to this scumbag because if they start emulating him, they're just gonna end up knocking up some girl and high on drugs. So this is a punk. This is a punk. That's Gen Z. That's the people that they are. They are absolutely toxic. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
To the factor, there's a name and a trend among Gen Zers who would rather do nothing than work a job they don't like. This is called NEAT. N-E-E-T. NEAT is an acronym for Not in Education, Employment, or Training. The group rejects the idea that being idle is a bad thing, saying it makes more sense to hold out for a job situation that really suits them, that they want, that they love, rather than jump on the first thing that comes along. Joining us to talk about it, on The Factor Uncensored, Gen Z OnlyFans creator Sunshine Gutierrez and therapist Dr. Christine Belliar.
Now I feel like I have to do it.
Sunshine is So when we talk about young people not doing what you guys don't want to do, is that your mindset, like, I'm not going to go do a job I'm not interested in doing?
Well, honestly, I have a pharmacy technician license. So prior to my job I do now, like on OnlyFans, I was working in a pharmacy for a big corporation. So like,
what made you walk away from that?
I started doing OnlyFans and working in the pharmacy at the same time, and one of my pharmacists found my OnlyFans. So I was just like,
so they snitching, huh?
Basically. I was like, okay, whatever. I make better profit on there anyways. So yeah.
And so Working as a pharmacist in the pharmacy, was that something you didn't enjoy, or it was just kind of like
I
it's
love
what
it.
you were okay, and you loved it? So you're different actually from this group because you enjoy a regular job.
Well, I actually really enjoy laying in bed all day too. Like,
Well, who doesn't, right, Dr. Villiard?
That's true.
I like being able to wake up every day and knowing I can do whatever I want today. I like to be able to do literally whatever I want. Isn't that like the life goal, the American dream?
Guys, what did I say? What did you guys? I like to lay in bed and do nothing. Okay, guys, what did I say? Gen Z, they're the sleeping and farting generation. I said the guys and the girls are exactly the same. It doesn't matter how pretty she is. As soon as she gets home, she kicks off her heels. She starts farting. She starts farting. All right, drinking, getting drunk, smoking weed, and playing games, or watching TV, watching the Kardashians, and playing with themselves, and and then doing it all again the next day, and then farting really loud, really, really loud, wet farts. That's Gen Z. That's Gen Z. They are not a good group of people. They're bad. They're bad muffins. They're bad batch of muffins. Bad batch of muffins. What did she do? She had a job as a pharmacy technician. They make decent money. You make decent money as a pharmacy technician. But that's not enough for these people. All right. So what did she? So she ends up leaving that job, going to OnlyFools, which is not a real job. These people don't seem to understand. It's not a real job. It's funded entirely by the simp economy. And something funded entirely by the simp economy will crash. What happens when the DOJ shuts down OnlyFools and OnlyFans? Because all of these young women are now turning to OnlyFools and OnlyFans as a career choice and calling themselves creators, desperate to tap into the simp economy. That is literally not future goals. There was a comment from Mayumi, and it was on one of my videos. Men are turning away leftover women in China, and I talked about the fact that these young Gen Z women are delusional, and I said that Mayumi had to work hard for everything she had. She was when she was in medical school, she was pregnant, and she had to muscle through it. Her father, her husband, this dude came back from the military, and he was working at jobs that really did not, security jobs that really did not merit his experience as an experienced military officer. And he grinded through it, and he came back, with issues. We already know what war is like. We already know what fighting is like. We already know what it does to you. And he was grappling with his own demons. And Mayumi and him, they both had to fight through all of that, and survive somehow. Like, she left a comment in regards to what I said, and I'll read this to you. She says, "Angry Sama, I pulled it off because I had a great man letting me take a step back. Even though I was influenced by my Japanese heritage and family culture, I was also influenced by my combat veteran husband, who I supported while he had some demons to defeat. We both gathered strength from our experiences. It was tough. I can say I took it on the chin, and me and my husband went through tough hours of work and school, but we persevered. It took a lot for my husband to kneel to my father and work up courage to ask him to invest in his security company venture. My husband looked my father in the eye, which is very unheard of because it would mean my husband was at the same level as my father. Even today, my husband would say, 'I'm here because your father saw much tenacious will to make it work.' My husband is a working man and a man forged of iron and steel. His blood, sweat, and tears forced him to go from grunt to general, which isn't unheard of in different cultures, especially throughout the ancient world. I know it's goofy to say, but I look at my husband as throwback from a forgotten era. The scars on his body, both physically and mentally, make me proud of him. He's the reason I didn't give up in medical school. He's the reason we are where we are today." And her husband is a Gen Xer. And that just signifies, like, the difference between Gen Z and Gen X. And let me make this clear. Gen X is coming after these people right now. Gen X is coming after Gen Z because they're pissed off. Gen Z, for some reason, in their warped little minds, thought that it was a good idea to start throwing crap at Gen X. And now Gen X is clapping back and warning them. Zennials are clapping back and warning them. There was a video that I put in another video where I used another video, but I'm going to put it on again because I want you guys to listen to what this guy says. This is a Zennial like me. We're the generation born between Gen X and the millennials. And as you can see, we are not true millennials. Whenever someone speaks of an elder millennial, those are the guys like in their mid-30s now. We are 100% of the Gen X. We're of the 100% of the Gen X grade. We all grew up with Gen Xers. We all went to high school with Gen Xers, to school with Gen Xers. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
This shit's getting funny. And I got myself some popcorn. I'm 1982. Technically, that makes me a millennial. Raised by the boomers, and I definitely hung out with the Gen X a lot. I wish I would really know what the hell you guys did to piss all of them off, but that shit's gonna hit the fan real bad if it didn't already. That's one. It's funny though. Gen X versus Gen Z. Men versus women. Left versus right. Woke versus based. Shit versus more shit. I mean, can't you all see? Division, hate, anger, fear. That's how you get controlled and manipulated the easiest. So I don't know what the hell is all wrong with you. Definitely not that much with Gen X. Thing is, kids, Gen Z, or, like there's loads of you that are very inspiring and smart. But those of you who think that because you've read some books, you ate some shit, and suddenly you're the smartest little assholes in the world and on this planet, life has still so much to show you and to teach you guys. And you can't just go on about and around, pointing a finger at everyone and screaming like little entitled brats. When I was about 16 to 20, so between the ages of 16 to 20, I'm not gonna say that everything that we've experienced as children and young generations was great. No, far from it. My parents were fucked. But fact is, they were even more fucked. So whatever they tried, they still tried a little bit better than the generation before. Same goes for us. We're all trying better than the generation before. And that's the whole point. None of us is right or wrong. None of us knows what is best. And none of us is supposed to compete with each other. We are competing with our versions of ourselves from yesterday. That's what the competition is about. Being a better version of yourself. But the fact that you little kids here think that you can come and shit down the necks of the generations who came before you, literally built much of this stuff that you're walking on today for us and for you, and the freedoms you're all enjoying today, we've all been fighting generation after generation for the rest of you to be able to talk shit like this now. Honestly, it's about time for the little snowflake cancel culture to shut the fuck up, go back to the school, go get some work, go get a real life, and stop talking so much nonsense. I don't give a shit what you identify with and who you think you are. Your actions speak more than your own words. And we can all see through your own bullshit. End of the story. Now get off our backs. Gen X and the millennials that are a bit older than you think. So, enough of this bullshit. Don't ask for shit you cannot handle. Okay?
Now, look at this. You had this 54-year-old, they pissed off people so bad. Now you have this 54-year-old Serbian man. All right. I know he's born in 1982, but he sure as hell looks 54. All right. You can see the life on his face. This is the thing I'm talking about. Many of us have lived hard lives. And it's because of our pain and suffering, the things that we've gone through that are just unimaginable, why we're able to kind of give this feedback and get pissed off when we see what Gen Z is doing, because life is extremely hard. Life is hard, life is painful, life is cruel. And the thing is, as adults, you realize what people pass through in life because you go through it. And then when you see what Gen Z is doing and their attitudes as a generation, as a group of people, it's insane. And then all they do is blame everyone else. They take zero accountability, and their quick response is, well, and who raised us? If we're scumbags, it's because you raised us like scumbags. All right, you raised us to be scumbags, so you can't blame us for being scumbags. So it's your fault. This is a level of stupidity. If we're committing crimes, it's because of you. Don't blame us, guys. These are some awful. They're so awful. They are so awful. Impossibly awful. And it's like, on one hand, when you're dealing with like men who grew up in end up in prison, a lot of these guys usually, a lot of the people who in prison, they usually come from for example, fatherless homes, and there's typically a pattern of poverty associated with them. They grew up in a fatherless home and life was extremely difficult for them and so forth. These Gen Z good for nothings, even though many of them did grow up in fatherless homes, the truth is that they grew up much more privileged than previous generations. They had everything they needed and most of the things that they wanted, but they are spendthrifts, so they want they're not willing to live below their means or within their means. They want things that they absolutely do not need. They should be able to afford a mansion. They should be able to afford a house at 20 years old. They should be able to afford, a $5,000 bag. They should be able to go out and purchase a new car whenever they feel like it. Everything they need should be provided for them. Food, shelter, housing. Every single bit of it should be provided to these good-for-nothing scumbags. Like, really? Really? I've already said it that, when the draft hits, these bums, they're not going anywhere. They'll be sleeping and farting. They're gonna come and try to drag out the ancient millennials and Gen X. And that's not gonna happen. Gen X is already saying, leave us alone and be very careful what doors you go knocking on. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, you want to see even more of this content, consider checking out my Men Walking Away channel. It's linked in the description of the video. I release daily videos on that channel. So if you want to see even more of those videos, more of these videos, go and check that channel out in the description of the video. Subscribe, enjoy the content. Guys, think about this carefully. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes effort to actually achieve anything in this world. I showed you that comment from Mayumi. I showed you her comment and how much she had to pass through and go through before she was able to achieve success. She's now around 34, if I recall. She just had a birthday, I believe, and it's crazy. It's crazy because she took it. She said it perfectly. She took it all on the chin. She took the hardships all on the chin. I mean, I don't know. I don't like Gen Z. I don't like these people. I can't stand these people. They are nasty, nasty individuals. A bad batch of muffins that we need to just chuck away and start all over again. And don't expect anything good from Gen Alpha. I've seen your comments about Gen Alpha. I've already acknowledged it. I've said it plenty of times that Gen Alpha will be a large prison population, and most Gen Alphas will never work a single day in their little awful lives. Let me know what you guys think regarding all of this. I cannot stand Gen Z. They are horrible, horrible people. It's like they're competing to be the very worst there ever was. You remember like Pokemon? I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Gen Z is like competing. I want to be the worst. I want to be the worst there ever was. You know, I forget about catch them. It's like to sleep and fart is my only cause. Like that's Gen Z. That's Gen Z. Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.